Poppa, born Jarius Wheeler, has died at the age of 25.
He was just a 5-year-old kid who dodged the same.
He was only 5 years old when he ducked the same bullets that took his friends' lives, and somehow lived long enough to run up millions alongside Yo Gotti. But here's the twist. The money, the fame, the spotlight, none of it could outrun what was happening inside his own head.
Oh my God, no, serious!
Lil Poppa's final tweets were downright haunting. "I'm scared to go to sleep and I'm lonely, bro. Somebody gonna die." 3 days later, he was gone, found lifeless in Atlanta. So what really pushed Jacksonville's golden boy to the brink? The truth is heavier than you think. Lil Poppa wasn't just another rapper out of Duval. He was the one people truly believed would escape for good. Signed to Yo Gotti's CMG label, stacking millions of streams, living a reality most kids from his city only dream about. Man, any young on here right now, there's more to life, man. There's more to life. But no matter how high he rose, success couldn't silence the pain buried deep within. That 2018 shooting that helped put his name on the map, it also left invisible wounds that never closed. And to understand how someone with everything ahead of him ended up lost in his own darkness, you've got to rewind. Back to the rough streets of Jacksonville, Florida, a city where the murder rate sits nearly double the national average, where dreams fade fast and the streets don't offer mercy. You either break the cycle or it swallows you whole. Lil Poppa, born Jarius Mykel Waller, was determined to break free. He split time between his mom's place on the east side and his grandma's house on the west. Two different sides of town, one shared goal: survival. His mom did everything she could to keep him grounded: church, structure, distance from the chaos outside. And that's where it started. At just 6 years old, he was in church spitting Christian rap, holding the mic with confidence some veterans never develop. His older brother, Chi-Chi, introduced him to the craft, and Poppa took off like it was already written in his destiny. Everyone around him saw it. This wasn't luck, this was calling. His grandma's house became his refuge, a small pocket of calm where he could focus, write, and dream bigger than the blocks trying to claim him.
I'm finna get out of this bitch, cause y'all negative. On my mama, y'all talking about Lil Poppa on my mama. Like, I'm not even playing on my mama. Oh my God, no, serious, no, oh my God, oh my.
Growing up in
Jacksonville comes with one promise. Eventually, the streets will test you. When Lil Poppa finally stepped off that porch, his lyrics started reflecting the raw reality he witnessed daily. He was stuck between two neighborhoods: the east side, where chaos felt constant; the west side, where peace was never guaranteed. He didn't just hear about violence, he lived around it. Daylight shootings, friends locked up, others never coming back. All that trauma poured into his music like therapy over 808s. What made Poppa different? He didn't fold. Even while battling a chronic blood disorder that left him bedridden for days, sometimes weeks, he refused to quit. Most people would have tapped out. Not him. If he couldn't leave the house, he built a mini studio in his grandma's closet and recorded anyway. That's grind. His family saw that fire and stood behind him, even though they feared what Jacksonville does to young artists who start shining. The city had a reputation for turning rising stars into tragic headlines, but Poppa wasn't aiming to be another statistic. He wanted more. By 14, he dropped his first music video. From there, it was non-stop. Singles, mixtapes, visuals. The buzz spread fast. This wasn't clout chasing. This was a young voice with something real to say, and the hunger to say it loud.
I read me a Bible verse, got some breakfast in my system, talked to God about it, you know what I'm saying, and he laid it on me. I got one more album, EP, mixtape, whichever one it's gonna be, I got one more. And it's over, I'm going to find my peace.
Then came 2018, the year everything shifted. But before we get into what fractured Lil Poppa's spirit, you have to understand the environment. Jacksonville's rap scene in the late 2010s? Straight chaos, on wax and in real life. Young Ace clashing with Foolio, neighborhoods divided, every new rapper pressured to pick a side. Poppa moved with a collective called Cut Circle. They said it was about music and unity. Law enforcement didn't see it that way. Authorities claimed the group had street ties, and suddenly eyes were everywhere, from rival blocks to police departments. Cut Circle had serious tension with another group, Head First, and this wasn't playful rap competition, it was personal. The crazy part, Lil Poppa and Julio Foolio once had history. They recorded together when both were grinding to make it, but that changed, and it reportedly started with an argument inside a Foot Locker.
MLG, woke up, read me a Bible verse, got some breakfast in my system, talked to God about it, you know what I'm saying, and he laid it on me. I got one more album, EP, mixtape, whichever one it's gonna be, I got one more, and it's over, I'm going to find my peace.
Word is, folks.
Social media comparisons fueled the fire. Who's better, Poppa or Foolio? Foolio jumped in, claiming his spot at the top. After that, stories started shifting. In one interview, he said Poppa slid subliminals in songs. In another, he claimed Poppa acted slick at the mall. Then, someone from Poppa's circle allegedly mentioned Foolio's late brother, and that's when it exploded. Part of the fight was caught on camera, Foolio and his crew throwing punches at Poppa. It wasn't hospital-level serious, but it ignited something bigger. From there, the diss tracks escalated. Poppa referenced Foolio's late brother 8-Ball in lyrics and on live. That line couldn't be uncrossed. Foolio fired back, mentioning Poppa's friend Corbin Johnson, who was later found murdered. This wasn't rap rivalry anymore. It was real grief turned lyrical warfare. Then K Shorty stepped in, referencing Poppa's late brother Lil Leak in songs. The disrespect ran deep. Poppa responded, referencing 17-year-old Mandy Wise, who tragically lost her life in unrelated crossfire rumored to target someone else. Everything spiraled, pain becoming punchlines, pride fueling retaliation, and all while Poppa was trying to build a career. Imagine chasing your dream while constantly watching your back. Still, he kept recording, kept performing, kept pushing. But to truly understand what broke him, we go back to 2018, the moment that raised his profile and shattered him at the same time. He was with his day one friends, brothers in every sense, just young men trying to survive and build something in a city that rarely offers second chances.
Give a, TIP Thug and Peace to Lil Poppa, man. My little nigga right there, man. Always supported me, looked up to me, man. Can't a boost.
Multiple reports say they were ambushed in a drive-by. Bullets everywhere, glass shattering, chaos. When it ended, it was a nightmare. 2, maybe 3 close friends were gone. Accounts vary, but the loss was real. And here's what haunted him. He walked away untouched. Not a single bullet hit him. One victim was his close friend CP. Another, Chevy, reportedly tried to shield him during the attack. That weight never left him. After that night, something changed. He struggled with survivor's guilt, that relentless question, why am I still here? Why them and not me? He poured it into music. In Purple Hearts, he rapped, I wonder why them bullets ain't hit me, why they miss me. Rather be gone, take me out my misery. That wasn't entertainment, that was pain bleeding through speakers. He even spoke about interrogations, feeling blamed for the very tragedy that destroyed him. Detectives try to frame me, wish I could take it back to the day that my mama made me. That's not just a lyric, that's someone drowning in guilt. Surviving the shooting was one trauma. Sitting under interrogation lights, questioned about the same incident that took his friends? That's another layer entirely. And the hook said it best. Purple heart for them soldiers, brothers gone fearless. Gotta make it out before they come and kill us. That wasn't just a chorus, that was his reality, echoing through every bar.
Shout out to TIP Poppa, Thug and Peace, man, Poppa. Talented, boy. TIP Poppa, the Duval legend, across the world. YN, Lil Pop, my daughter, them, TIP.
He flipped his trauma into a masterpiece that hit every soul who's ever lost somebody to the streets. And here's the wild part. That track, born from his worst nightmare, racked up over 6 million views on YouTube. The pain that almost destroyed him became the very song that made him a star. Twisted, right? The same heartbreak that stole his sleep ended up putting his name on millions of screens. But fame didn't close the wound. If anything, it cut deeper. Purple Hearts was a blessing and a burden. On one hand, it showcased Lil Poppa's raw storytelling and undeniable talent. On the other, every performance meant reliving that nightmare, seeing his friends fall all over again in his mind. That's the side fans never saw, the silent ache behind the cheers. Still, the industry noticed. Heavy hitters like Polo G paid attention, and by 2019, Poppa signed with Interscope Records under Rule Number 1. For a young artist out of Jacksonville, that's major. His rise was undeniable, and his city stood proud. He became proof that you could start with nothing and still touch the top. Then, April 2022 changed everything again. Yo Gotti brought him into CMG, Collective Music Group. And CMG isn't just any label, it's a powerhouse. Moneybagg Yo, 42 Dugg, ESTG, chart dominators. When Gotti signs you, that's a stamp of approval. It says you belong with the elite. Gotti saw more than just another street rapper. He saw a storyteller, a young man who turned chaos into poetry. Poppa had that rare formula, authentic struggle, emotional depth, and music that reached beyond the block. He wasn't just representing the hood, he was speaking for anyone fighting demons in silence. The money came fast. Streams skyrocketed, millions on Spotify, high-end studios, major features. The kid who once recorded in his grandma's closet was now in million-dollar sessions with industry giants. He was living the dream Jacksonville rappers talk about. But here's the truth people overlook. Success doesn't erase trauma. No deal, no diamond chain, no stack of cash can silence what's already living in your mind. Poppa may have had the contracts and the checks, but he was still carrying 2018 on his back. The survivor's guilt never left. And his chronic blood disorder, that was still part of his reality. Fame didn't fix that either. Some days it left him stuck in bed, unable to move. Imagine being one of the hottest young rappers out and physically not being able to get up. That frustration hits different. On top of that, fame brought pressure. The label needed hits. Fans wanted more music. His team saw him as their ticket upward. Expectations stacked up quick. And while juggling all that, he was still battling internal storms. That's when he dropped the Under Investigation mixtape series, raw, unfiltered, and real. No sugarcoating, just street life, survival, and the truth. Jacksonville listeners felt seen, and even people far removed from that world connected with his honesty. The numbers reflected it. Millions of monthly listeners, videos climbing in views, a fan base growing stronger. But behind the numbers was a weight most couldn't see. Touring, deadlines, studio marathons, interviews, the non-stop grind of staying relevant. That pressure alone can break someone, especially if they're already hurting. What set Lil Poppa apart was his willingness to speak on what others avoided. He didn't just rap about flexing, he talked about grief, depression, trust issues, and survivor's guilt. His catalog became a mirror for people fighting silent battles. Hip-hop Vibe even called his music powerful and deeply personal, noting how often he addressed mental health and loss. That honesty built a deep connection with fans. He wasn't pretending, he was open, fearless with his emotions. But here's the heartbreaking part. While fans praised his vulnerability, he was still living in that darkness. The same mind that created healing music was carrying wounds that never truly healed. In a 2021 DJ Booth interview, he admitted his blood condition could leave him bedridden for days. Meanwhile, he lived in constant alert mode. Reports say he remained hypervigilant, always listening for danger, always bracing for gunfire. Analysts breaking down Purple Hearts pointed out how often he referenced hearing shots, reliving 2018 over and over. Sleepless nights, bottled anger. He even said he couldn't cry anymore, like the tears were gone. That's what trauma does. Even if you make it out financially, mentally you're still stuck in survival mode. Every gunshot echoed back to that night. Every loss reopened the wound. It showed in his lyrics, interviews, even his Instagram bio. First we're born, next we suffer, then we die, the end. That wasn't edgy marketing, that was a mindset. In August 2025, he released what would be his final album, Almost Normal Again. Even that title felt heavy. Not normal again, just almost, like he was reaching for peace but couldn't quite grab it. In the weeks before his death, his posts grew darker. Mixed between promo and business updates were tweets that read like quiet cries for help. "I'm scared to go to sleep and I'm lonely, bro. Is it okay to cry? I never asked for any of this. I shed all my tears in the dark." And the one that hit hardest later, "Trust no one, somebody gonna die." Those weren't lyrics, they were real. But social media moves fast. People scroll and keep going. No one realized how serious it was until it was too late. Still, just weeks before, he'd shared hopeful messages, talking about staying out the streets, focusing on music, smiling, sounding grateful. It gave fans hope that maybe he was healing. But mental health isn't linear. One day feels manageable, the next feels unbearable. Fame doesn't protect you from depression. Then, February 18th, 2026, changed everything. At 11:23 a.m. in Fulton County, Georgia, Jarius Mykel Waller, Lil Poppa, was pronounced dead. He was just 25. The official cause hasn't been fully confirmed, but insiders say it was self-inflicted. Rumors spread fast, gun, pills, speculation everywhere. But the reality was simple and devastating. He couldn't keep fighting the war inside his mind. What makes it even heavier? Just 72 hours earlier, he'd released a new single, Out of Town. He was still working, still creating. From the outside, everything looked fine. Then his producer, Scotty, shared the heartbreaking news. Shock flooded timelines. Tributes poured in. Jacksonville was crushed. Some fans even revisited an old tweet where Poppa said he had 2 albums left before leaving his label. Questions resurfaced. Pressure, frustration. Nobody knows for sure. But one thing is clear. The weight of trauma, fame, and expectation had been building for years. Hip-hop often pushes this idea that you have to be unbreakable. No tears, no weakness, just toughness. But that kind of pressure can be lethal. Lil Poppa tried to open up. He put his pain in his music. That took courage. But sometimes lyrics alone aren't enough. Sometimes you need real support beyond the studio lights. And in cities like Jacksonville, where survival is the norm, mental health often gets pushed aside until it's too late. Resources are limited. Therapy isn't always affordable, and in a lot of places, talking about your feelings is still labeled as weakness. When you grow up where gunshots are background noise, where losing friends feels routine, and everyone's just trying to survive, where do you even turn for help? How do you heal when the people around you are too numb to even say the word pain? That's the reality Lil Poppa was living every single day. And that's why his legacy goes beyond music. It's bigger than plaques, streams, or fame. It's a wake-up call. We have to check on our people, especially the ones who look like they've got it all figured out, because sometimes the brightest smiles hide the deepest hurt. Money can't repair a broken spirit. Fame doesn't erase trauma. You can have everything and still feel completely alone. Poppa's story shows how far the impact of gun violence really reaches. It's not just the lives lost in the moment, it's the survivors who carry that weight forever.
That 2018 shooting didn't only take his friends, it planted trauma that grew heavier year after year until it became unbearable. And it's not just him. Anyone who's survived violence or buried someone they love walks around with invisible scars. Time alone doesn't fix that. Trauma doesn't disappear just because life moves forward. You can smile, you can grind, you can succeed, but if you never get real help, the pain stays. If you or someone you know is struggling with depression, survivor's guilt, or thoughts of self-harm, please reach out. In the US, you can call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or text HOME to 741-741 to connect with the crisis text line. You don't have to carry it alone. Rest in peace to Lil Poppa, Jarius Mykel Waller, a young artist who transformed pain into poetry but couldn't outrun the trauma that shaped him. He survived the streets of Jacksonville. He battled chronic illness. He endured the loss of brothers. But the toughest fight was happening inside his own mind.
His music lives on, raw, honest, fearless. A voice for people who didn't know how to speak their hurt out loud. His passing should push us to take mental health seriously, especially in our communities. We can't just celebrate people when they make it. We have to protect them once they're there. And let's clear this up. That old tweet about leaving the label, it was from years back. There's no proof CMG or Yo Gotti had anything to do with his death. If anything, they amplified him. They gave him a bigger platform to tell his story. The issue wasn't the label. The real war was internal, trauma that had followed him since 2018. His body left Jacksonville. His mind never fully did. The city took another painful loss. It was still grieving Fulio's death in 2023, and now another rising voice was gone. It felt like the same streets that built these artists kept pulling them back, even after they made it out. What shocked people most was how unexpected it felt. Some tried to act numb, saying hip-hop losses aren't surprising anymore, but this one hit different. Poppa wasn't chasing drama. He wasn't deep in public beefs. He was focused on his craft, staying out the way, trying to build a better life. He was doing everything right, and that's what makes it hurt. He talked openly about depression, about survivor's guilt, about mental health. He used music as therapy instead of violence. He did what we always say artists should do: be honest, be vulnerable, speak on what hurts. But sometimes, even when you're talking about the pain, it's still too heavy. His passing exposed a truth the industry doesn't like to admit. Success doesn't cure trauma. You can have plaques, cars, chains, followers, and still feel empty. Man, any young on here right now, there's more to life, man. There's more to life. When survivor's guilt eats at you, when chronic illness drains your body, when your mind is exhausted from fighting, fame can't fix that. His story echoes other young stars we've lost too soon: Juice WRLD, Mac Miller, Rich Homie Quan, artists who reached the top but struggled privately. What made Poppa's pain different was the root of it, the guilt of surviving when his brothers didn't, the burden of being the one who made it out. That's a weight few understand. His death should shake us, especially in communities where young black men are taught to stay strong no matter what. When someone posts, "I'm scared to go to sleep," or "I cry in the dark," or "I'm lonely, bro," those aren't bars, those are warnings. We can't keep ignoring the signs because we confuse silence with strength. Vulnerability isn't weakness. Asking for help isn't soft. Lil Poppa's story is tragic, but it's also a lesson. Listen more, check in more, make sure the people around you don't feel like they're fighting alone. Rest in peace to Lil Poppa, Jarius Mykel Waller, a voice born from struggle, sharpened by pain, and carried through every bar he ever recorded. His legacy lives in his music and in the conversations his life sparked about trauma, healing, and the cost of survival. Let's honor him properly,
by breaking the silence around mental health, by checking on our loved ones, and by remembering that real strength isn't about hiding pain, it's about facing it.